How much movement is too much movement when you are delivering a talk? I'm going to give you my opinion and why coming up. So how much movement is too much when you're delivering a talk? Should you pace backwards and forwards the whole way through your talk? Or should you stand stock still, never to move again? Well, I'm going to give you two versions and let you make up your mind as to which version has the most power. So, the first version. I'm going to show you what it's like when we move backwards and forwards whilst we're talking, and you can see how much power this creates for the message. The next version is I'm going to stand still and deliver my message standing still and see how much power this creates. So what do you think? Which version has the most power? Hopefully you will agree that when you stand still, your message has a lot more power behind it than when you're moving. Great. So ideally, we should be delivering our talk standing still. Great. End of video. Thanks for coming. Not quite. It's good to stand still when we are making a point, but if we were to stand still through the entire speech, we're going to be standing there for what? 3 minutes? 5 minutes? 15 minutes? It could be a very long time. And I don't know about you, but I get bored just staring at one spot for that length of time. So that means we need to move, right? But I've just shown you that you will have far more power when you stand still. So we need to have a happy medium. We need to find moments in our speech where we can move and moments when we need to stand still. So how do we do that? What we need to do is we need to make our main point from centre stage. That is the most powerful place in the room, on the stage, that you can stand. Everybody can see centre stage in any room, any auditorium. We make our main point from centre stage. Then we make our next point from a different side of the stage. Okay? Once we have made our point, we can then move back to the beginning, to the centre. Get the idea? It's fairly simple. Now, you may have noticed that I didn't talk whilst I was moving. But we've all seen plenty of people moving and talking at the same time when they're delivering a speech or a presentation. So why can't we? Well, as I've shown to you, if you want to make a really powerful point, it's best done when you are still. What can happen if we move and talk at the same time, though, is that that's not going to have as much weight. It's not going to be as powerful. So it's a really good idea to only say something when you're moving that doesn't really matter, that it's the filler words, that they're not really anything special. Okay? That way, if the audience don't hear you so clearly, they're still going to get the main point when you are facing them again. Another reason why you need to be careful about moving and talking at the same time is that as you're walking away towards your new position, half the audience will only be looking at your back. And it's quite difficult to be interested in what people are saying when their back is to you. That's why one of the main rules of the theatre is to always face your audience. The other thing to think about as you're moving and talking at the same time is your footwear. If you're wearing clompy shoes that make a lot of noise on a wooden floor, then that can detract from what you're saying. So make sure that you choose appropriate footwear that is not going to be loud and clompy when you are speaking. especially if you move whilst you are speaking. Ladies in particular, be careful of your high heels. But one of the most difficult things for people to master is the art of standing still. But I'm not suggesting for a minute that you stand as still as a statue and don't move anything but your mouth and eyes. You should be using gesture, but you need to use them wisely. You need to make them aid what you're saying. So for example, if you're wanting something to be huge, you'd make it huge. Use big arm gestures. But if it's really small, you might only use one hand up close to show that it's a tiny wee thing that you're talking about. So let your gestures aid what you're saying. They add to it. They're not just randomly throwing about your arms because that makes the audience take some interest in what you're saying. Can you see that's just as distracting as moving while you talk? The other thing is to avoid fast pacing, because when you pace with speed, you actually appear nervous. And that can be horrible for the audience. They feel uncomfortable when you're nervous. So they're less likely to trust you. And that trust is what you want, so the audience believe what you're saying. Okay, so should you move whilst you are delivering a presentation? The answer is yes, but ideally only to give a new point. You move to a new position on stage to deliver a point, and then when you're finished, you move again. You be careful of your gestures, make sure they aid in what you're saying, and you avoid pacing and clompy shoes. So I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, then let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. Or you can hit the like button, or you can subscribe to the channel. But if you do, make sure you hit that bell icon so you get notified when I next upload videos. And check out my other videos. There's lots of useful information in those as well. Until next time.